Hello, welcome to the Burn KC ScorchCast. I am your host, Alex Blackburn, here to bring you the biggest Kansas City sports news this week. This week's show will be a fairly short one, but it's still a big one. We got a new and improved ScorchCast with more scripted shows from here on out, with more stats, information, and put-togetherness than ever before. Get excited. It's going to be a good one. I know that I'm pretty excited today. Got some pretty good news. I am going to Las Vegas for Big 12 Media Days, July 9th and 10th. So that's going to be super awesome. Can't wait for this opportunity. Special thanks to College Football Dogs for allowing me the opportunity. I'm super jazzed. I really can't wait. This show, though, we're going over what all has gone on in the realm of controversy regarding Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, Harrison Butker will be talked about. We've got to, as well as Rashee Rice and Wanya Morris, and what my thoughts on those situations are. For college sports, we've got basketball transfer portal updates, some news about NCAA 25, and a few other items. Soccer-wise, we have to go over the upcoming U.S. Open Cup, as well as the Currents' continued undefeated record. Finally, we got some Royals news too. Boys in Blue are 10 games over 500 for the first time since 2015. We'll go over what got them there and what can continue their success. Like I said, should be a shorter show, but it'll be a really fun one, so strap in and enjoy. Alrighty. What a week this has been for the Chiefs, huh? Last couple of weeks, not just this week. Just can't seem to stay out of trouble. Rashee Rice has allegedly been involved in an assault in Dallas, Texas. 2 weeks ago that happened, where a photographer was punched in the face by someone who allegedly messaged him on Instagram to come take pictures at a nightclub. It was called Lit Kitchen. That person is alleged to be Rice, and he is currently being investigated for the incident. Can we just face facts here? If Rice doesn't get his act together, and this is even if he didn't do it, the Chiefs must seriously consider taking adverse action. Requiring him to be chaperoned like Des Bryant was, requiring him to move to Kansas City to keep away from the bad crowd he hangs out with in Dallas. Something. And that's if they even want to keep him after this year. First the accident, then this. Rice has to recognize that he's an adult, that he's in the public eye, and that he's under intense scrutiny as a professional athlete. The fact that there hasn't been anyone to help him understand that, either at SMU or kind of to a lesser degree, the Chiefs, is a very bad look. The Chiefs can't just get rid of him. They unfortunately have to help clean up his mess by mitigating any future mistakes. Releasing him is not really going to help with that if there's a culture problem. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle his case. But the reason I say that that's an issue, though, is because that isn't the only legal issue the Chiefs have found themselves in as far as players go. As we've seen more problems with this young group of players. Wanya Morris in I'm going to have a difficult time pronouncing this, and for Mr. Godric, I apologize, but Shukebuka Godric have also been arrested on alleged marijuana possession charges in Johnson County, Kansas. This is even further proof that the Chiefs must mitigate player behavior in public relations. I truly thought the Chiefs had this under wraps when they were strict with Kareem Hunt, and the leadership has hardly changed since then. So what exactly happened since then that has plunged the Chiefs into this PR nightmare? Who is not being a role model? Who is not doing their job for these young players so that they can stay out of trouble? It should have happened in college, which is why I'm, very skeptic as to why this is going on Is it an SMU Oklahoma problem or is it a Chiefs problem? And frankly speaking, I think it has to be lack of leadership and lack of nuance of being in the public eye for the Chiefs. You have your guys that are doing it right. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and most of the other stars of the team are pretty good at it. However, you got guys like Chris Jones, Justin Reed that are on Twitter just portraying a bad image, and that's not a knock on them. Like they're not doing anything illegal, but they're portraying a bad, immature image to the public eye. And this is kind of what's leading me into the next topic, which I'm going to do my best not to make political because, frankly speaking, I don't mean to make it political, but it is a hot button divisive issue, which is why I really don't think I'm just going to come out and say it. Harrison Butker should have spoken on it. Harrison Butker said some pretty divisive, controversial things on social media and in front of a microphone that has really put the Chiefs into this controversial light. And I get it, being a championship team, being a dynasty, you're going to come under that intense scrutiny, but that's why it's all the more important to have a tight leash on what your athletes say as an organization, what your athletes say, and what is being put out there in terms of imagery. That's the public relations skills are part of the job of being a professional athlete and are part of being a role model to these younger players. While I don't think anything, like I said, while I don't think anything that these guys that were mentioned before, what they did wasn't nearly as stupid as what Rice or Morris did, it still sets that bad precedent of, hey, I can do whatever I want, I can say whatever I want, and there's no repercussions. But here's the thing. Again, Harrison Butker's actions 2 weeks ago were not as dumb as the actions of these younger players, but setting a precedent of I can do what I want, I can say what I want because I'm a professional athlete with a platform is extremely dangerous. What Butker said, whether you agree or not, was controversial and divisive. Tavia Hunt defending his words that she took out of context, the comment about motherhood is not Butker's saving grace here. He's screwed up. And he's screwed up more times than not. I don't know if any of you remember his DEI comments. Call it politically correct. Call it being too much of a stickler regarding free speech. When you are in the public eye and you play team sports, you need to know what you say matters and that there's things that you can and can't say in order to uphold the image and the brand, especially when your brand is the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me give you an example, and I'm seeing this comparison a lot. Colin Kaepernick was blasted and blacklisted from the league because he spoke his political opinion, which is why people are calling for Butker to be banned as well. And I'm not saying, I agree with it. I'm not saying I agree with it. Whether Butker or Kaepernick should be banned, I don't think either of them should be banned. I think, free speech is incredibly important. But that being said, you unfortunately do have to walk on eggshells. Being a professional, anything, you have to walk on eggshells. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. And especially when you're in the public eye, there's certain things that can be said, and there's certain things that just can't. And Butker's a great example of what can't be said. And again, call it cancel culture. I don't care. That's the way of the world. And whether you agree with it or not, Butker's probably going to face consequences for saying something stupid over a mic. It was stupid. It was divisive. It was controversial, and he knew so, which is why he said it. And those people calling him an unapologetic Christian, an unapologetic conservative, would you say the same thing about Colin Kaepernick, who didn't do much of anything else different? I understand that there's rumors of him wearing, cops are pigs socks and everything like that, but that's still a political opinion. He's not actively engaging in anything illegal. He's engaging in freedom of speech, just as Butker is. So what I'm asking is, would you agree that would you agree that Colin Kaepernick shouldn't have been essentially banned from the NFL? And Butker's a kicker, mind you. He's way more replaceable than a quarterback. This is just my 2 cents on that. I agree with freedom of speech, but I also agree with freedom. But I also agree with there should be consequences with what you say. And again, what Butker said was divisive and controversial, and he knew it so. Again, it's not him being an unapologetic Christian, it's him trying to push an agenda, just as Colin Kaepernick did. And look what happened to him. I mean, if Butker is the example to these young players, that sets a dangerous precedent, in my opinion. There are mentorship issues, and there are issues regarding leadership, nuance, and public relations skill, because it is a skill that you have to learn. And the fact that it is still the fact that it was said at a Catholic college does not make a difference. In fact, the nuns have openly disagreed with what he said, calling it divisive and controversial, which is why I'm saying it's divisive and controversial. If the school that it was said at said that it is divisive and controversial to say those words, I'm going to agree with the school because it was their commencement. It wasn't Butker's time to get on a soapbox. It was his time to commend those graduates and to wish the best for their future. And what he did was exactly the opposite of that for the women in that audience. And again, I'm not saying that I agree with Butker getting banned from the NFL. I think that's ridiculous. The Kansas City Stars article is absolutely terrible. If you've seen that one go around. But I do agree that what he said sets a bad precedent of I can say what I want and do what I want with no repercussions. He's an older veteran player. He could have put a positive spin on being a working mother. He could have put a positive spin on these women that are graduating from college, but he didn't. He acquainted them to housewives. He called his own teammates he called Taylor Swift Travis Kelce's girlfriend, his own teammate. Like it was stupid. It was stupid, it was controversial, and it was divisive. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Enough about the controversies, though. I trust those will be solved by those who are in charge of solving. Maybe Hunt's comments are a little discouraging, but the job to put the hammer down goes to Andy Reid and Brett Beach. So we'll see what they say. Let's go on to college basketball. Oh, shoot. All righty. Transfer portal update time. Got a few updates for you, so let's dive on in. I know that we kind of jumped from a heavy topic to a so heavy topic, but hopefully you enjoy still. Kansas. Guard Noah Shelby is walking on to Kansas. The Rice transfer averaged 3.9 points per game on 35.1 field goal percentage. The Dallas native played at Vanderbilt before coming to Rice and will likely be a bench player for the Jayhawks for at least this first year. The Jayhawks still have 2 scholarship spots and plan to use them per my sources. Shelby has 2 years of eligibility left. So there's possibility he could play, possibility he couldn't. He'll be a good bench role player, I would assume. For Kansas State, power forward Achor signed with the Kansas State Wildcats. The transfer from Samford played against the Kansas Jayhawks in the round of 64 in last year's NCAA tournament and put up 23 points and 8 rebounds. I don't know if you remember that game, but it was pretty close for the Kansas Jayhawks against Samford, no less. He he has a 43.5, and this is why it was close because the Jayhawks perimeter defense is just awful. But he had a 43.5% 3-point percentage as a power forward and averages 16.1 points per game. That is a huge pickup for the Wildcats. I think he's going to play very, very well. I liked what I saw when he played Kansas. Well, liked as in like, oh, that's a good player for Samford. Did not like the result that my Kansas Jayhawks gave that game. God, that was so stressful. But yeah, it's a huge pickup for the Wildcats, who I believe still have, I think, 2 scholarship spots open now, maybe 3, because they also got another commitment from a JUCO product, Shimobi Ikiguruka. The Ellsworth Community College product is a shooting forward and will have 3 years of eligibility. Ellsworth is not the Kansas Ellsworth. It is the Iowa Falls Ellsworth. And solid JUCO product. He wasn't ranked coming out of JUCO, but Kansas at this point, Kansas State is kind of just taking what they can get. They kind of missed out on all the like marquee transfers, which is a bad sign for Jerome Tang's, recruiting ability. Obviously they got David Castillo, but it's been a tough transfer portal season for Tang and the Wildcats. Let's just put it that way. Missouri has no new commits this week, though. They maintain the number 12 class in the class of 2024. They have a few guys on their radar and will likely continue to pursue players. Dennis Gates has done a great job this transfer portal season and this recruiting season. I mean, he's done a masterful job. You're hoping for a great turnaround for Mizzou. It was a tough year last year. 0-18 in the conference and 8-24 overall. I mean, it can really only go up from here, right? It's tough to see the Tigers after one of their best years in a decade fall flat on their face like that. So this is a good climb for them. The number 12 class in the class of 24 is Very, very good. You're hoping that the Tigers can continue that uphill climb. But for college basketball, that's about it. As far as the NBA Combine goes, Jayhawk Johnny Furphy has impressed so far at the Combine, excelling in three-point exercises and scrimmages. He's projected to potentially be a lottery pick, and he and Kevin McCullough are projected to both go in the mid to late first round as of now via multiple different mock drafts. Kansas State's Arthur Kaluma also put his name in the NBA draft pool. I haven't seen him listed on any draft boards. I think he's a second round guy, if anything. But there's a potential he just doesn't get drafted at all. There's also potential that he returns to school. I don't think for Kansas State. I think he entered his name into the transfer portal, so there's that. Great double play by the Royals. I just watched. Sorry, I got the Royals game going on in the background. Just because Royals are on national TV tonight. Isn't that something? National TV twice in a month. Let's go Royals. Anyway, back to basketball. Let's it's hard to see Arthur Kaluma getting drafted, in my opinion. And like I said, he did enter his name to the transfer portal, so he'll probably return to school for his final year of eligibility. I'd be very surprised if he didn't. Um, but we'll see. Missouri doesn't have any guys in the NBA pool right now, the NBA draft pool. So not really keeping an eye on anybody on that front. But yeah, Murphy's been really, really impressive from the videos that I've watched and from what I've heard from NBA analysts. I think he's bound to be a pretty good player. I'm hoping so, at least. I'm hoping that him leaving after his freshman year is worth it. I'm hoping he's going to be turning more into like a Grady Dick type of player where he wasn't super, super impressive in college. I mean, he had his moments, yeah, but I'm hoping that he's got, more of an uphill climb, more of a ceiling in the NBA. So we'll see if that happens. But let's go ahead and move on to college football. We've got some big news in the world of video games, and gonna go over a little bit on Big 12 Media Days because I'll be there. So why not, right? Why not? Alrighty. So you may have heard this already, but NCAA football is back for the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. College Football 25 is expected to release July 19th of this year, and the first trailer for the game dropped this past week. It's been 10 years since the last NCAA video game, as the restrictions on athlete name and likeness that were placed that were in place, along with the Ed O'Bannon case of 2009 that dealt with student athlete representation in popular culture. Now, with the advent of relaxed restrictions, let's just say really no restrictions at all, on NIL and revenue based college sports, EA has decided that the time is now for the college football video game to make its return. The game will include real names on jerseys, which is a first for NCAA video games. It will also include all the old features of the old game, along with a few new ones, including College Football Ultimate Team. You'll get your chance to have the opportunity to build your ultimate team full of college football's greatest stars, both past, present, and probably not future, but who knows? I don't know. Maybe they have a way of telling time. Um, or of course they have a way of telling time. Maybe they have a way of traveling forward in time. The old features like Team Builder, Road to Glory, and Dynasty mode are all included. No word yet on if mascot mode will be in it, which is probably the first disappointment. There's big expectations as the trailer showed a lot, though. Uh, Great graphics. It looks like Obviously there's names on the jerseys and just a whole bunch of other really, really cool stuff. Uh, EA has also been not very good at keeping the secrets, as a lot of the game's features have been known for some time now. Uh, the pre-order also opened up for the game, which on top of everything else, like the release of features and the lot, have got fans buzzing, including myself. I'm a huge NCAA football fan. Though, as a longtime fan of college football and college football video games, you should see my copy of NCAA Football 14 for the Xbox 360. It's so beat up, just from the mileage that I put on it. I'm elated that the game is making a comeback. It's been a long time coming, and with how poorly Madden has been made over the past few years, I truly hope this can be EA's get back game for football. As long as they don't copy and paste Madden and just rehash it with college logos, I'll be happy with the game. And then as long as it's not like super buggy and stuff, just the details. Just don't make it into Madden. Madden is terrible nowadays, and gosh, I hope it's not like Madden. Uh, I just need to find a way to play it now because I don't have a PS5 or Series X. Uh, Anybody got one for cheap? Anybody want to give your favorite sports blogger a discount, perhaps? Maybe for free, even for free, maybe, probably not, but for cheap, maybe. Let me know, please. I'd love it. Uh, Anyways, let's talk about the other type of football, shall we? So I did want to mention that I'm going to Big 12 Media Days, and that'll be July 9th and 10th in Las Vegas, Nevada. It'll be held at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, so that's pretty cool. But let's get into soccer. Sorry, I meant to I meant to say that in the other section, but it escaped me because I didn't have it in the original script because I didn't have the credentials yet. But let's talk about soccer. Sporting Kansas City has lost again and is suffering a skid, losing to Austin 3-2. They find themselves in a similar hole that they found themselves in last year, falling to 2-5-6. Head coach Peter Vermees has gone on to say that this club has been here before in an interview with AOL Sports, and what matters right now is mentality. I'll agree that mentality is once again an issue. But Vermees can't be serious in saying that this is the only issue the club faces. Let's look at the past game. Let's look at the game against Austin. 2 for 16 on shot attempts with just 3 on goal. So, 2 for 3 on shots on goal, which is nice. But 16 versus the 7 for 12 that Austin had, 7 shots on goal with 12 shots total, and they hit 3, mind you. Let's be for real here. That's a bad stat, and that's the trend. Is Sporting Kansas City is getting chances, but they're not capitalizing, which is why they also only had 5 corner kicks, and Tim Melia had 4 saves. And overall, just chances to win were the story of Saturday's game and have been the story all game again. It's the same thing as last year. Like Beer said, it's the same thing as last year. It's been a common story. Capitalizing on chances is huge in soccer, and it's huge for Sporting KC right now. They're not doing it. Their defense is relying too much on Tim Melia, and overall, yes, mentality is a big issue. Finding a win and finding it soon will be the biggest thing for Sporting KC right now. You can't wait to find that win. Going through something like a slump is super hard on the mentality of a team. That happening back-to-back years is really bad. Vermees must be a veteran coach and recognize that winning right now is just as important, if not more important, than winning later. Sporting KC faces Tulsa in the U.S. Open Cup round of 16, May 21st. The U.S. Open Cup has been good to Sporting KC in the past, but last year it wasn't so friendly as they lost in the round of 16. Sporting needs a huge U.S. Open Cup performance to potentially save this season. Otherwise, the mentality is going to be hurting even more. Tulsa is a good squad. They'll give Sporting a run for their money. They must win this game and keep winning in order to. I think they have to do really, really well, like get to the round of four in the US Open Cup in order to even say that, hey, like, in order to improve that mentality. If you lose here, it's going to be tough to get back. So Sporting KC needs a win here, in my opinion. As for the Kansas City Current, though, the ladies remain unbeat. They tied again 3-3 against Racing Louisville, which drops them to second in the NWSL table behind the Orlando Pride. While it's good that they're getting a steady stream of points, the Current need to find a way to finish those games in the win column. The Current have a problem with finishing, and the stats look good, great even in some games. The offense is there, but just allowing their opponent to hang around and not putting the foot down on the throat is what's ailing this really good but not quite perfect squad. Guys aren't going to count for anything come playoff time. They're not. And figuring out how to finish is the name of the game for the Current right now. The Current play the Utah Royals in Utah May 25th. If they can get a win, they'll be right back in first if Orlando ties or loses. Let's go on to the Royals. We're having a great year. A great year. I'm watching them right now. They're doing really good. They're winning. All righty. Let's talk about the Royals and then we'll kind of wrap up here. The Royals find themselves 10 games above 500 for the first time since 2015, the year the boys in blue won the World Series. Excitement is in the air as Kansas City has a good baseball team once again. As they're sitting pretty in the wild card race and are just a game and a half back from the Guardians for first place. They're buzzing with young and surprising talent. For young talent, you got Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny Pasquantino. They've been great with Witt Jr. maintaining a .296 average, batting in 25 RBIs, 5 home runs, and maintaining a .867 OPS. Pasquantino has similar numbers with .236 average, 29 RBIs, 5 home runs, and a .734 OPS. MJ Melendez, Maciel Garcia, and most notably Michael Massey, who had a huge series against the A's with home runs in back-to-back games, have also contributed greatly. I can't remember the last time we had multiple Royals with a batting average over 2.5 or 0.25. That's crazy, but it's true. I mean, and now I think there was like 4 or 5, and just unreal numbers. I'd like to see a little bit more consistency from the Royals. You kind of have your games where the offensive performance was kind of a dud, but overall, the bats have been great so far this season. Not perfect, but great and light years ahead of what it was in the dark times. But not just the young guys have been productive, though. Veterans who kind of had a slump last year are back and better than ever. Salvador Perez is probably the best example of that. Salvador Perez has a 3.37 average with 37 RBIs, 8 home runs, and a .950 OPS. The team captain has been an absolute force this season. And really, these are numbers that we haven't seen from Perez since 2021. And before that, since the World Series season. So it's huge. But the biggest story so far to come out of the 2024 season is the leap in production from Royals pitching, specifically starting pitching. Cole Reagans, Brady Singer, Michael Wacha, and most notably Seth Lugo have been absolutely dealing this year, being one of the best starting rotations in the American League. Lugo has been posting American League best numbers with a win-loss record of 7-1, which is second in the MLB, an ERA of 1.79, which is tied for best in the American League, 58 strikeouts, and a .98 whip. He's also pitched the most innings in the American League, showcasing his longevity and showing that he's the Royals ace this year. He's the guy this year. That starting rotation is great. Cole Reagans has also been on fire this year. I mean, he's posting great numbers. But Lugo has been the guy this year. The Royals are actually currently playing. I'm watching the game right now on FS1. They're in a huge divisional series against the 23 and 23 Tigers to maintain their positioning. The Royals are playing, like I said, on FS1 and have a score of 2-1 with the Royals being in first, or excuse me, with the Royals in the lead. And it is, gosh, my vision is failing me. The top of the sixth, sorry. And it's been a solid performance so far. Pitching's been great. But again, you'd want to see that offensive consistency. We'll see how this series goes. If the Royals can win this series and continue their pitching excellence and get some more offensive consistency, or excuse me, it's the bottom of the sixth. My apologies. Again, 2040 vision. I'm a little blind. Um, we we could have a playoff bound Royal squad though. Don't count chickens before they hatch. The All-Star break is still 2 months away, and baseball is a fickle beast, unfortunately. But as of now, though, boys in blue are buzzing. They've got people excited about baseball again, and probably right on time given what happened with the April vote. But I mean, it's been a great thing so far, and I hope it continues. I love to see Royals baseball continue that. Let's get into the wrap up and just a little bit of minor news as well. All right. Well, that's essentially our show. We don't have a lot of news left for this week, but we do have some hashtag Blues news. Practice for Blues Sevens begins May 28th at 7 p.m. at the KC Current Training Facility. Interested in playing? Contact the Blues on social media or myself, and I can pass you on. Preseason sessions have already began every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so come get some time to get yourself acquainted this week, maybe. It's a great time out there. I love playing rugby. I can't stress that enough. And I I really enjoy my time with the Blues. I think if you're an athlete that's looking to get back into the game, this is the perfect opportunity. So, you know, let me know or let Blues social media know, and we'll get you set up. That's our show for this evening, though. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've liked the more scripted approach. I'll get used to it. The more that we do it, I'm kind of doing half script, half ad lib. But let me know what improvements you'd like to see. If there's anything you want me to add, this is certainly a learning process, uh, but one that has me excited to learn and educate myself on how to make this better. This has been the Burn KC ScorchCast, though. Have a great evening, and I will see you next week.